Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Automation Hub Sathak, and in today's video we will learn about a very important interview question which is also quite a very old question. It is still asked, not by many, but it is still asked. So let's understand what is final and finally and finalize and what is the difference between them. Some interviewers do ask them, and we just go about reading a few lines that okay, final is a keyword, finally is a block, and finalize is a keyword, but then they all are keywords. It depends what kind of keyword expressions you use. So let's go ahead and let's find out. Okay, so we'll go to Eclipse. Mm, Not really this one. So we'll go to our learning Java. In SRC, we'll create a folder. We'll create a package rather. Final underscore finally underscore finalize. So how about this? Okay, so let's understand from the perspective of we'll make a class and we'll write final understanding. Okay, let's make the class name as final itself. Okay, the class is final. Now, what is final? In Java terms, what is final? Simple it is. Final is a keyword. Okay, as many suggest, final is a keyword, and many people only believe that final can be only used with a particular variable. No, final is a keyword which can be used with variables, classes, and methods, all three of them. Okay, see, the final keyword in Java has different meaning depending upon how it is applied to variables, how it is applied to classes, and how it is applied to methods. So let's understand one by one. First we will understand final with variables. Okay, so let's understand this. The value of the variable cannot be changed once initialized. If we declare any variable as final, we cannot modify its content since it has been declared final. Final means final. That's it. It is final. You don't have to change. But uh, that is with respect to variable. If we do something trying to do that, we'll get a compile time error. Let's understand how. Now, I'm declaring a variable int I is equal to 10. This is a class. This is not an interface. We know that if it would have been an interface, by default, anything you declare, any variable you declare in an interface is a final. But as of now, we are coding inside a class. Okay, now this is a variable, okay, I, which is of data type integer, and the value we have assigned is 10. Now, is this value a final value? No, it is not. Why? Because here if you write sysO I and then in row number 11 you decide to change the value to 11, and then if you write here sysO I, if you run the output, we will see that it is able to change. So when I said you cannot change the value of a variable once you declare final, so what did I say? That once a variable is initialized with final keyword, it cannot be changed. I told this, right? So since it is changing, you see the output, it is changing. That means this I variable is not a final. It's not a final variable. So how to make it a final variable? Let me delete this, and if I write here the final keyword in front of it and now execute the code, it will give the value 10. But now if I try to make I equals to 11, this will throw me an error. It will say the final local variable I cannot be assigned. It must be blank and not be using a compound assignment. So what it means is that you have already declared this variable I. Either you change this variable to some other variable like jklmnop, but with final keyword associated with it, this variable's value has been fixated now. It cannot be changed. So if you do this, it will just give you a compile time error, nothing else. If you try to forcefully get the printout with the error, so if you it will give you a compile time error. See, unsolved compilation problem. This is a compile time error that you get. So makes no sense to do all these things. Okay, so you now you understand that with variable final acts like this. Okay, now let me remove this. Okay, now let's understand point number two. Final keyword with class. We understood with a variable. Now what happens is whenever declare any class as final, it means that we cannot extend that class or that class can't be extended. Typically means you cannot make a subclass of that class. Okay, and by default all the methods present in the class are automatically final. Variables may or may not be final. So let's understand the basic what happens. The basic consequence when final keyword is associated with class is whenever we declare any class as final, we cannot extend that class. Okay, it is not possible. You cannot extend that class. Typically, this means that you cannot make subclass of that class, as simple as that. Okay, understood? Now and what happens internally inside that class? What happens is all the methods, you know, uh, if you make a class final, all the methods in that class are automatically final. Okay, all the methods inside that class are automatically final in nature. Okay, uh, but variables are not final. You're declaring the class final, but the variables may or may not be final. Okay, so now let us go ahead and create a class which is final. Okay, so I will create a new class and make it as final underscore class. Fine. So what I'll do is I'll copy this thing from there and put it there. Okay, so that we have a better understanding of this thing. Now we understand this, so now we have to make this final, so I'm gonna make final. Okay, now this class we have made it as final because of the keyword associated with it. Okay, now as it says we cannot extend this class, so let me create another class known as test class. Okay, so let me try to extend this final class. If I use extends in this final class, it will throw an error, and let's read the error. The type test cannot subclass the final class. Okay, but this class is not a final class. I mean, even though the name is final, but I have not associated the keyword final, so if I want, I can extend this class because it is not a final class. This is working fine, but if I want to extend this particular class which we have declared as final class because of this keyword associated with, this will not allow you to extend it. You cannot make this subclass of this class. That is what we understood here. So this is how final keyword is associated with class. Okay, now let's understand how final keyword is associated with methods. Okay, we will do one thing. We will write outside the main method and then we will see. Third point, final with methods, how this thing plays. Okay, so what happens here, if you declare any method as final, the method cannot be overridden by a subclass. Okay, whenever we declare any method as final, that means we can't override that method. So the method cannot be overridden by a subclass, as simple as that. Okay, so that means it cannot be overridden. Okay, let me make a method. Okay, public final void testing. Now this, if I write here This is a final method. Okay, and I am trying to override this method. How will I override? Let me first extend this particular class. In this test class, what I'll do is I'll extend this class. Extends this class. Okay, now I will try to override this method. How do we do method overriding? By keeping the same name and the parameters also same. So what I'll do is I will create in another method to overwrite it here. Okay, I'll write public void testing. It will not allow. It says cannot override the final method from final. That is how you understand that if you have declared a method final, you cannot override that method. That is not allowed. So final has so much concept. But generally in most of the wherever you see, you technically as an automation testing engineer, if you just have to prepare, you just think of this. That's it. You don't consider whether that a class can be made final, whether a method can be made final. You generally we tend to ignore, but it should not be. Now you understand. This method cannot be overridden as it is a final method. Okay, so now you know the concept. Hopefully you understood this much. So this is about final and how final works with uh, variables, with classes, as well as with methods. So this much is for final. Now let's go to finally. What is finally? Let's understand what finally is. So let me close all of this. Now let me create a class, new class, and I'll write understanding finally. So what is finally? Technically speaking, finally is a block. It is a keyword. Finally is a keyword, okay, which is used in association with a try catch block. Always remember this, okay. That means finally is nothing but a block, okay. So it is, so finally is a block. Now there are some other things, rules also you need to understand. No matter whatever exception come, whatever code you write in try or catch, irrespective, if you give finally block, okay, it guarantees that a section of code will be executed even if an exception is thrown in true and try and catch. Okay, so finally guarantees a section of code will be executed even if an exception is thrown in try or catch or wherever, but if you give finally block, it will be used. Okay, also remember finally block is executed after try and catch blocks. Okay, but before control transfers back to its origin. What is this? We'll understand. Let us write a small piece of code. Okay, so this much is the theoretical concept of finally block. Let us understand, let us write a code. Let's say int I equals to 10 or 20. No, 10. Fine. Now, what I'll do, I've just written a simple integer. I have not written anything. What I'll do, I will write a try block. I will unnecessarily put a try block and I'll make a printout here. Okay. I am gonna write something in this try block. Okay, now you will say what sense does it make? Well, let me decide what sense does it make. Okay, So let me do a mathematical exception. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let's say int j equals to I divided by 0. Sorry, I divided by 0. So this will become infinity. So will it be allowed? You tell me. Oh, what is wrong? Okay, will do. So now j is I divided by 0. This leads to infinity. Okay, so we will see that this particular bit, okay, we'll do one thing. Let's do this in a different way. So I've written int j equals to I by 0. Okay, so it leads to infinity. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write something which will actually see, this is an arithmetic exception you're creating, because anything leading to infinity, compiler will totally get confused because compiler has its own limitations. Now we will write something like here to check. Let us check if this line of code gets executed or not, or whether the flow comes here or not. Okay, so let's do one thing uh, now. Okay, so now what I'll do, I'll write, I'll put this inside some try catch block. I'll copy this, select, right click, surround with try catch. Okay, so I know this has some kind of an arithmetic exception, so I'll give here arithmetic exception. Okay, fine, no problem. So I will give another CISO here, just to, I am inside the catch block. Okay, catch me if you can, something funny. Okay, now what should be done here? So if I'm trying to act smart here, okay, I'm not really interested in this print stack trace. I will write this like, okay, um, should I be able to division by 0 leads to infinity? So can you catch me? This is what I've written here. So these are the two print statements I gave in the catch block. And then what I decide, okay, if you cannot catch me, fine, I'll give you one more chance with this fellow. I know I cannot escape because you used finally to catch hold of me. Not fair. Okay, so now let me execute this code. Let's see what happens with this. So what happens here? It says I'm gonna write something in this try block. This one will get executed after try block. Okay, I'm inside the catch block. Catch me if you can. This also will get executed. Division by 0 leads to infinity. So you can catch me here. Yes, I can, because I'm taking the printout. I know I cannot escape because you use finally to catch hold of me. Not fair. What does this coding actually mean? Okay, what if I do not write this? I just write a uh, simple code and I want to execute. See, after this, when the line number 14, row number 14 is executed, arithmetic exception is already thrown. So this line will not get executed because compiler will try to find some respite because of its not able to understand this line. So it will come to the catch block, and it will see, okay, thank God there is an arithmetic exception here. Okay, so okay, fine. What if this arithmetic exception also did not exist? What if this did not exist? Now what will you do? So what can be done? So what can we do here? No, so what will be the output now? The I know I cannot escape because you use finally to catch hold of me. So this is something which is very interesting, guys. Please try and understand. Earlier, try failed, so catch helped him out. Okay, but then catch decided to part ways. So try said no. I'm compiler is like, I can't understand this. This is beyond my understanding. It is beyond my range of understanding because it is leading something to infinity. Then finally came as the last resort. Okay, fine. Give me. I'll get it printed. Okay, so the naughtiness of the program got caught even though the exception was thrown. Okay, the arithmetic exception was thrown, but finally you have certain output. So this proves that it guarantees a section of code will be executed even if an exception is thrown or not. We saw that the finally block is executed after try and catch blocks, but before control transfers back to its origin. That means when we had not commented these things, first this line got executed, then row number 14 compiler got confused, so it ignored row number 15. So then it came to catch. Okay, it caught the exception, thank God. So it printed these things here. Then finally also it came and it, okay, fine, this is even a stronger way. So now catch was like, no, I'm leaving, I'm not going to catch anything. So the catch block also went out of picture. So now when this thing is not understood, finally this block, finally block, helped us with the output in spite of the fact that the arithmetic exception was not caught here. Okay, this catch was doing this job, but he resigned. He did not want to participate anymore in this program. So finally block helped us out. That is the exact concept of finally. Nobody will tell you all these in so much detail, but if you have understood so far, well and good. So this is what finally does. Okay, I hope you understood so far. If not, do comment in my video down. I'll try my level best to even explain further, but I hope this much is enough for you to understand. Now I'm shutting this down. Now what is the next thing? Finalize. Okay, this is also very important. So let's create a method. Let's create a class understanding for finalize method. Okay, I've just created a class wherein I'll understand the finalize method. So what is finalize method? Okay, I hope you guys know about garbage collector. Garbage collector is not in Java is something wherein if it sees that there is an unnecessary allocation of a memory space which is unnecessary, so the garbage collector will just remove it. That is what it does. So because it is unnecessary taking up a memory space, it is heaping on it. So it will be like, no, enough, tata, bye bye, we don't need you. That is the role of a garbage collector. But if that garbage collector has to play a role, it has to be invoked by something, right? Who invokes things? Functions or methods. So this finalize method is a method that the garbage collector always calls just before deleting or destroying the object which is eligible for garbage collection. As simple as that. And you know, garbage collection, what the work it does? Cleaning up activity. So what does garbage collection do? Oh, garbage collection does cleanup activity. Okay, so what are the examples of cleanup activity? Let's say you are closing connection with database or some network connectivity you are closing, or let's say you are deallocating a certain resource. I mean, we don't use it anywhere, so unnecessary, why keep it there? Makes no sense. Okay, always remember, finalize is not a reserved keyword, because many people will see final is a final is a keyword. Final is a keyword. Okay, uh, finally also, but not finalize. Please, in interview they will ask you this question: final, finally, finalize, which of them is not a keyword, or are all of them keywords, are all of them reserved keywords? Finalize is not a reserved keyword, please remember this. Okay, I'll also write it here. Okay, no, not this program, not this. Yes, always remember, finalize is a method and it is not a reserved keyword. This is a very important interview question. Don't make a mistake of getting over this. Finalize is method which completes after no, finalize is a method that the garbage collector always calls just before deleting any object. Okay, so once the finalize method completes, immediately garbage collector destroys that object. And anyways, always remember this one more concept: finalize method is present inside the object class, which is the daddy class, or like the super class of all classes in Java. That means, it will work, but there are certain conditions of using finalize method. There are approximately three cases, which the third case can be further divided into sub cases. I will not be able to teach you each and everything. This video will become unnecessarily extra long. It is just for concept. So we will take a particular case, okay, and in this case, let us make an object which is eligible for garbage collection. Okay, that means that object is actually turning out null and void. Otherwise, why will it be ready for garbage collection, or why will it be eligible for garbage collection? So we'll take up a case wherein the object which is eligible for garbage collection and the object's corresponding class finalize method is going to be executed. Okay, so let's understand that this is that particular class. Okay, so inside the main method, what I'll do is I'll write string str equals to new string, and I'll write here hello Java. So what have I done? Nothing. I've just created the object of string class and I've passed an input parameter over here. That's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to act smart and I'm going to write str equal to null. Oh, beta. So what happens here? You create the object and you mark the reference to a null. So, so what is the sense of creation? It is an absolute bogus sense now. Now, the thing is you have to call this gentleman, this garbage collector. So how do you call? By system class. So system.gc. This is how you call the garbage collector. Okay, remember this. This is request JVM sends to call garbage collector method. What is the garbage collector method? GC. The class it takes the help of system. Interview question. It is difficult. Many would not be knowing, but it is better if you know. So now what you do is that's it. So you can just take a print. This is where I think my main logic rests. Okay, well and good. Now what will you do? Now you will say, sir, finalize method is not only used, you have just created something and calling a garbage collector. Fine, give me some time, I'm coming. So I'll write public void finalize. So here I'm making my finalize method. Okay, so I will write here, this is my finalize method. So what will be the output? So just imagine the output. Let's execute. This one will get executed. What happened to this? So please understand. Here only this output came, but many would have expected this also to show up. But why it did not come? Because see, garbage collector call finalize method on the class object which is eligible for garbage collection. Okay. See, the output here only came. This is where I think my main uh, logic rests, and not this. Okay, because garbage collector call, this particular call finalize method on the class object which is eligible for this method call finalizes method on the class object which is eligible for garbage collection. Here what we have done, here we have created this string class. Okay, and str is the object reference of this string class. So the string class finalize method is going to be called and not this class. Okay, that is why, because garbage collector call finalize method on the class object which is eligible for garbage collection. Okay, this is, so this particular gentleman, this GC method will call garbage collector call, will call finalize method on the class object which is eligible for garbage collection. Here what you have done, you have made this particular string class eligible for garbage collection because you have written something which is stupid. I'm sorry to use the word, but this is what you have written. So GC says this is eligible for garbage collection. So I'll rest my case here. I don't want this. So because this is a non-static method inside the class. But anyways, if this has found eligibility for garbage collection, why will the JVM even bothered about this? So what do we do to make sure that this thing gets printed? How do you do this? Simple. What you need to do is you have to create this object of the class objref equal to new. Okay, this we have done. Now make this equal to null. Now this is done. Now our class understanding underscore finalize method is called. Okay, so what will be the output now? Let's execute. Now both the cases are working. Okay, because now the whole class is eligible for garbage collection. You have made the whole class garbage by writing stupid code. Here only the string class which created an object for itself was eligible for garbage collection. Now when GC sees, okay, the whole code is bogus, everyone is eligible for garbage collection, so let me collect all the garbage. Okay, so this is one case. Okay, now there is another case wherein we can call finalize method explicitly, so that then it will be executed just like a normal method call, but object won't be deleted and destroyed. This is one case. There is also another third case wherein you can try to eliminate the object, but those are in depth of Java, core Java programming, which we do not need in automation. So I'll rest my case here. I hope you understood final versus finally versus finalize and you liked this session. If you did, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel Automation Hub Sarthak, and please practice this. This is very important in interview perspective. I hope you like this session. Thank you so much. Sarthak here, signing off.